You're now listening to All Hog Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimson.
Now, because of some injuries and waiting for some updates from coaches and just coach speak and press conferences, I actually pushed off the injury update, which correlates to my prediction, so I'll be hitting those both in this episode. Now, for Texas A&M's injury report, wide receiver Nia Smith and offensive line Layden Robinson are day-to-day on Wednesday. Robinson probably going to play right guard for the Aggies, and then Smith is a 5'10 wide receiver. Wide receiver Caleb Jetman and Hez Jones out for A&M. Then center Luke Matthews and defensive back Keldrick Carper were day-to-day. That update came on Monday, and then defensive back Eric Young is now practicing for A&M. Looking over at the Arkansas side, right tackle Dalton Wagner and center Ricky Stromberg did not practice on Tuesday. We haven't heard an update from coach since. There's been some rumors that they have been playing. Those have been spreading on Twitter and such. I'm not really sure if they've practiced yet, but they're not ruled out, and the status for Wednesday and Thursday remains unknown. Coaches really haven't said much, and Sam Pittman's an old-style coach. He's not going to go out there and say much. Tight end Hudson Henry returned last week after an ankle injury. Running back Traylon Smith was battling turf toe this whole season and dealing with an upper body injury. Still banged up on that one. And then defensive back Miles Slusher. He plays every position on defensive back. He's healthy now and was dealing with a hamstring/quad issue, so he should be back.
It's time for Sam's prediction.
This game's going to be close. I'll be lying and sitting here saying that it couldn't go either way, regardless of who I'm about to pick. This game will be a dogfight. It'll be fought in the trenches. It'll be fought defensive line, offensive line for both teams for 60 minutes. Arkansas and A&M has always been a close game. And regardless of how you feel about, it's both teams, Aggie fan, Arkansas fan, or what you've watched on the field from both teams, I have a feeling it's going to be a close game just based off of how good both defenses are and will hold the other offenses. That's why I have Arkansas winning 20-17. Arkansas must win the turnover battle to win the game. They have to force more turnovers than they give up and start off with good field position and limit A&M's field position. Establish a rushing game. This is the weakest part of the A&M defense. I think they're ranked like 88th in rush defense through the first 3 weeks. I don't think this is that representative of how good the rush defensive is because they were missing 2 starters due to suspension for a while. But this defensive line for A&M is still really good, and I'd probably say they're like a top 20 rush defense team. I guess we'll really see what they're all worth on Saturday because they'll have all their starters back against Arkansas. So even if it doesn't come up right away, Arkansas has to establish a rushing game, get 2+ 50-yard rushers, and continue to get 6-7 yards a carry, ideally, if we're going to run the ball 40-50 times. KJ Jefferson, you want him having designed QB runs at 50+ yards, and then guys like Smith, Johnson, Sanders, one of those guys to get 50+ as well. The passing game has to be serviceable as well. You have to have the offense running somewhat through the air, and along with both of those is offensive line play. Obviously, it'd be huge if Stromberg played for Arkansas to handle DeMarvin Leal on Texas A&M. I previewed their whole defense on my last show. If you haven't listened to that, I would go listen to that right after you finish this one. I do see Arkansas getting a lot of pressure on the defensive line. I don't know if it'll adjust at halftime, but I think John Ridgway, ideally on Matthews, and even Foster, the true freshman, if Matthews is out, is an ideal matchup for him. Not getting burnt deep goes along with pass rush. You don't want to have your speedster corners like Bishop getting beat off of, a quick drag route or something like that, and then they go deep, score a touchdown. That could create concern with guys like Dimas, Chase Lane, Smith if he plays. That's like number one for Arkansas to avoid the long ball. Just smart reads, don't try to force things against A&M. The right run, pass call, and just stop the A&M run team as well. They have a great rushing attack with Isaiah Spiller and DeCane. I really could see it going either way, but I'm going with my Hogs. I'll see y'all next week for the recap of this game. So, y'all know the deal. Woo pig suey.
That's all for today's episode of All Hog Sports with Sam Stimson. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode covering all Arkansas Razorback sports. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media too. On Twitter and Instagram at All Hog Sports Pod. Like on Facebook at All Hog Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. And on YouTube at that same name. All ways to listen and our social media links are at linktr.ee/allhogsports. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Go Hogs!